So thank you all for coming to tonight's chat where we'll learn about waivers. I will be learning alongside with you all. Um, my name is Jamie Larmer. I'm the youth coordinator with the Center for Disability Empowerment. I work with ages 14 to 24. The Center for Disability Empowerment is a nonprofit agency that provides services to all people of all ages with any disability. We do this through 5 core services, being information and referral. I like to refer to it as human Google. So whatever resources we don't currently have, we can actually do that research for you and get you connected. We do peer support. We are federally mandated to be 51% people with disabilities who are working there, and a part of our board as well. So if you are a person with a disability and you come through our doors and say you need some sort of person to talk to or support, we are there to help you in the best way we can. We do independent living skills trainings, teaching people simple meal planning, teaching people how to ride public transportation, how to manage finances. Any daily living skill that's going to help you be more independent are some of the things that we work on. We do advocacy, whether that's teaching people how to be self-advocates or actually going out and advocating on the person's behalf. And the final aspect would be transition services. There's 2 components to that, mine being the youth transition, and then Ms. Deb Peterman here is the other half of that, which is the nursing home transitions. And she'll go ahead and tell you a little bit more about that and her program. So with that, I will be turning it over to her, and I will be behind the scenes managing the chat. So if anybody has any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out via the chat and we can help you out. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Again, my name is Deb Peterman. I'm with the Center for Disability Empowerment, and my role is a transition coordinator and community connector. I help people with disabilities move out of nursing facilities. Yes, they need advocates. There's usually no one there to help them out. But my primary work right now is with the Ohio Family Network, which is a grant from DODD. And we cover 4 counties. However, now with Zoom, we can cover many counties. So it's been kind of neat to be able to share new ideas from other counties, that maybe we're not doing here in Central Ohio. So we've had many of these Ohio Family Network workshops. We are working one with, I'll be talking to Elaine Hamilton, who's also on this call tomorrow. We'll be talking about possibly 2 different Ohio Family workshops on relationships with teachers, family teacher relationships, IEP, what kind of tools to bring with you, meaning maybe people beside tools, to an IEP. So we'll be hashing that out tomorrow morning. But tonight, I found it really important that, you hear about waivers being thrown, just the word waivers, and it can be very confusing because there's waivers for people who are medically fragile, there's different types of waivers. And so I thought my friend Hope, whom I know from church, her son is in my Sunday school class, bodybuilders, and Faith, and Hope has a personal knowledge of having a child with a disability, who's Sam, and also an advocate, as well as a provider with I Am Boundless. So what I love about Hope is she tells it like it is. So she's not going to sugarcoat anything, so just brace yourselves. But I think we need honest talk from a parent, especially when it's frustrating, right? So I'm just going to pass it on to Hope and let her go to town.
Thank you. And I'll try not to cuss. I've told you this. Anyway, my name's Hope. I have a son, Sam, who is 19, and Sam has autism. And we have a self-waiver currently. We started out with the level 1, and somewhere around the age of 15, we were able to jump up to a self-waiver. So I am currently his provider. I'm also a provider to some other kids, some of my friends' children too. So what I'm going to do, I have only about 7 or 8 slides. I'm going to go through them each, but fire questions away. I clearly didn't cover everything. And as I told Deb, this kind of becomes like a spider web because you can go off in a lot of different directions. But I am going to cover the top 3 waivers, which are the IO, the level 1, and the self. Some of the smaller waivers, I don't know as much about. When I don't know something, I'm going to admit it, and we can try to get the answer for you. So again, I've got my 19-year-old son. He graduated from high school last year. He's currently at Ohio Dominican in a job training program called Everybody Works. And so far, so good. We had our first year and it's going great until COVID hit, and now he's home and he's about to kill us. So anyway, next slide. All right, so the questions that I want to talk about tonight, again, fire away. I'd be happy to answer anything else. Why do I get one? How do I get one? What options are there for the waivers? What do I do once I get it? Billing options, and some additional little tidbits that kind of, again, go off into some directions, some other ways you can bill and get some support for your child. Next slide.
Excuse me a second, Hope. Do we have a poll to see how many are parents? Or
yeah, we kind of, when I was talking to people, we have kind of a little bit of everything.
Okay.
We got some that have waivers, some that don't. Yeah. So do you guys currently have waivers? Yes or no?
I got turned down.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. So why do you get a waiver? Like, why do I need one? The biggest reason people look for one usually is for Medicaid. And this is not as quite as important usually when a child is younger, because most of the time you've got a parent that has benefits. So usually until they're in their 20s, they're usually on their parents' benefits. But the Medicaid piece, as they become older, clearly becomes very important. So Medicaid is the first thing that they're going to get automatically with the waiver. They can get some adaptive equipment, they can get aids, and they can get other services. And other services is really broad. With a self-waiver, you can ask for anything. You're most likely going to get turned down the first time you ask for it, but you can ask for fences, you can ask for security systems, you can ask for monitoring help. There's a lot that you can, ramps, you can ask for a lot of things. But anyway, with it, you are going to get, you can get equipment, you can get special harnesses for your car if you need that. For aids, you can get help with aids, in-home help. And for services, you can get some therapies. Again, most likely you're going to get turned down the first time you ask for it, but I have a friend right now that's going through listening therapy. It took her 6 months to get it approved, but she finally did. How do you go about getting it? So you ask your county. You guys have all probably been through, you've probably got service coordinators, and then you prepare, as I joke, for battle, because you're going to get turned down the first time you go. I can tell you my story. We got turned down twice, and then I realized I got to video it because they kept kind of doubting, or my son would go into a meeting and he'd be an angel. So video evidence doesn't lie. If you've got a kid who's got behaviors, get it on video. It's very hard to step back in the moment and try to do that. If you have other kids in the house, they're very adept with their cell phones, have them get it on video. And you take that video to the county and say, look, he's trying to kill us, he's kicked a door down, whatever it is, but get it on video, because they can't argue video evidence. Don't sugarcoat things. Don't go in and say, well, yeah, he does that, like, you know, sometimes, but maybe twice a year. No, you give them what is your worst day. is, you know, you just got to stress, this is a bad day. This is what a bad day looks like. You're going to get denied. The first time you ask for it, you always get denied. You just keep appealing, even if you've got to go to the state level. I know it sucks as a process, excuse my French, but you got to go, you got to do it. If need be, sorry, hi Terry. If need be, get an attorney through Ohio Legal Rights. You can call them, you can talk to them. Their process is not quick, I can tell you that, but you can get some help. And don't give up. You just got to keep pushing it. It can be a year or two long process, but you've got to keep pushing for it. Okay, how to move between a level 1 and an IO.
Real quickly, the other thing I wanted to say about, you said video, also document everything. Document it, write it down.
Yes.
Send it to the your caseworker.
Yep. Get all the behavior records from school. Sometimes schools are not the most forthright about that. We were in a private autism school and they refused to give us some of the behavior records. And I had to escalate it to my service coordinator, finally called and kind of said, we're going to cut your funding if you don't give it to us. And I got 2 inches worth of behavior records that I never knew about. So document everything. You know, just, I can't stress it enough. Even if you've got to give them 2 inches of documentation and video, you got to do it. So moving between an IO and a level 1, you've got to have justification to do that. So if you get that level 1 and it's meeting your needs, you're going to have a tough time justifying why you need that IO. If you have a level 1 and you have a younger child, it's a tough jump to get to an IO until they turn 18. Once you turn 18, it might be a little bit easier because they're coming out of school or they're going to be transitioning out of school and you're going to need some more help with them. But again, if you really feel you've justified, if something medically has changed, something in the family has changed, your family dynamics, then you got to ask and you got to back it up. What can I use a self-waiver for besides respite and HPC? So the self-waiver can be used for a lot of things. It's trying to get it approved. You can use it for a lot more than what an IO or a level 1 can be used for because it is self-directed. So again, you could use it for swim lessons. You can use it for adaptive equipment in a car if you need it. You can use it for anything that you feel your child or the child feels that they need. If they need a program on their iPad, you can get it approved. Again, you're most likely going to get it denied the first time you put it through. They just do. They deny everything. It's just their business. So you got to put it through and get a doctor's note with it. So if you're looking for maybe a program that they can use on their iPad, get a doctor's note for why medically they need it, and you'd be more likely to get it approved quickly. Self-waiver, again, just keep trying. There's a lot of people. Fences, security systems are biggies. They're not easy to get, but I do know that they still do give them out rarely. We have a level 1 in Franklin. Good for you, Genevieve. How do I become a provider? Okay, we're gonna cover that. Assuming not possible until he's 18. This is Sandra. Sandra, right now because of COVID, they have an exception to that. So if you have a child who's under 18, they are allowing parents to be their child's minor provider, their minor child's provider. That's going to expire as soon as COVID calms down. You've got to talk to your service coordinator about that. Can the black box be removed? I don't know. I'm not managing it, so Kim?
We're working on it.
Okay.
But this PowerPoint and this presentation will be available because it is being recorded.
If you have a stable account for your child over 18, does this impact getting a waiver? No. It's just the straight answer, no. They will ask if you have a stable account. When they asked me, I said yes. When they asked me to provide how much was in there, I told them it's none of their business. They will push, but it is none of their business how much money your child has in a stable. Other accounts, you got to make sure that they've got less than $2,000. So before you apply for any kind of a waiver and before you get on Medicaid, make sure that they have less than $2,000 in a checking account, a savings account, without, again, outside of stable, or you'll get denied, or they'll take the difference away from you. So, okay, so the waiver options, the IO waiver. The IO waiver, for those of you who don't have it, is the individual options. It is, the client is given a bucket of money. The money is assigned based on the level of functioning of the person. So they're going to kind of give the person a 1 to 9 rating, so to speak, based on all their medical needs. And they're going to give them a pot of money. My understanding is that goes between about $9,000 a year to up over $150,000 a year, depending on the severity of the child. You can get emergency funding if you have that. So if there was a parent maybe passed away, a parent had a heart attack and is in the hospital, if you need additional funding, it's available on your IO. You have to ask. May take about a month to get it to you, but there is additional funding. If you are a parent of an adult child, you have an 18-year-old or older, you are paid, and you want to be your child's provider, you are paid at what they call a daily rate, a shared daily rate. It runs, again, about anywhere from about $84 to about $115 per day. When you bill a 4.5-hour block every day, and you get paid that 4.5 hour, you get paid just a daily rate. If you're a self-waiver, it's self-directed funding, meaning you can use the funding for whatever the needs you have for your child. The difference with this is children under 18 automatically just get a flat $25,000. Adults get a flat $45,000. This rate has gone up in the last 9 months-ish. So it used to be $20,000 and $35,000, and they've raised it, which is nice. It can be used for both goods and services, but there's never going to be any emergency funding available. So don't bother asking. You get paid if you are a parent or you have a provider, you get paid an hourly rate. It's not the shared daily rate that they have for an IO waiver. That rate is determined by how many hours you want to keep. So you've got $45,000. If you want to pay a provider $14 an hour, then you're going to have clearly more hours versus if you were paying a provider $17.76, I believe is the top right now. So just depending on what rate you pay is how many hours you're going to have per year to use. And then a level 1 is $5,600 for basic. It's a basic waiver. You can get emergency funding, and everyone is hourly paid. It breaks down usually to about 5 hours a week. So it'll give you maybe a break. If you want to get somebody in on a Friday night to go out, it'll give you a little break, but that's pretty much all it's going to give you. So any questions on that before we go to the next slide?
Well, I have a question. I know that you had mentioned one time about the level 1, that even though the basic waiver is pretty low, many people are really more interested in the Medicaid part of it.
Yeah. So when you, any of these waivers, when you get them, you're automatically going to get Medicaid for your child. And I've talked to Deb about this. I do meet with a lot of parents that are like, we have enough money saved up for them. You know, we're okay for now. No, you don't think like that. You have to think, if tomorrow I'm gone, and my adult daughters have to take over care of my son, I would never want them to have to go through this process of having to get this. We all know how hard it is to get these waivers. I wouldn't want to put that burden on my children that are going to care for my son. I got to do it now. And so you just got to really, really fight for it. It's a horrible process that they put us through. And supposedly there is no waiting list any longer. You're still going to wait. You're still going to wait. So with the level 1, if you are in Franklin County, you're additionally going to get some Franklin County services. So you can get OT, PT is kind of hard, but definitely OT and speech you'll get covered. So whatever's not maybe covered by if you have a minor child, whatever's not covered by your private insurance will be picked up by Franklin County funding. So
you talk about health check hours with Medicaid.
Yep, I'm going to go into that. We got that coming like 2 more slides maybe. Okay, so billing options. For your billing options, there are kind of 3 main ones. You can be an independent provider. So if you've got a waiver, say you've got, I've got a self waiver. So I can use an independent provider, or I could be, because my son's an adult, an independent provider. I then direct bill to the state. I am considered a contractor, so taxes are not taken out. So I've got to file my own taxes on that. It does take a little bit of time through the state to get certified. And by a little bit of time, I'm going to push it and say 3 to 6 months. It's not a quick process. When you do this, you do your own billing through the state system. It's called PAWS. Don't ask me what it stands for. I just know I've used PAWS. And the benefit is that you're going to get the full waiver amount. So if, like for me, I have an adult self waiver, I'm going to get the full $45,000 to use. But I got to do all my own billing, and I've got to do all my own taxes and all that. So it's a great option, just takes a bit of time to get through the classes and to get certified through the state. You can use an agency provider. Agency providers are through, if you've heard about Boundless or ARC. A lot of the smaller little agencies, you can go through them too. You can get up and running in a much quicker time, meaning you can get your aid up and working in a much shorter time, and the taxes are done for them. The downside is, because they're doing the work, they're taking a larger cut. I can tell you right now, Boundless takes 25%, ARC takes almost 50%. So you're losing if you've only got a 45. I'm through Boundless. My son's waiver is through Boundless. I have a $45,000 waiver. I'm only getting $33,750-ish to spend. So they are going to take a cut. And by the way, those cuts never go down. Supposedly Boundless is going to be bumping it up to almost 30% soon of the cut that they're going to take. If you have a child that's 18, you can be their provider. If you have a child under 18, you can't. And again, there is an exception right now for COVID. So if you are a provider and you have a minor child and you want to provide for them right now, you can get paid for it.
Question. So what I just heard you say is that if your child's under 18, that you can do a temporary provider. Can you choose what agency you want to do it in, or do the same process? You could be an independent provider or go through an agency.
So if you currently have a child under 18 and you want to do this COVID provider, you're not going to be able to go through the state, because you most likely wouldn't get certified until like December. So, and they will have lifted that by that time. An agency provider, yes, you can get up and running very quickly. There's a couple things that have to be done. You have to be certified in first aid, certified in CPR. If your child has med administration on their ISP, you need to get med admin classes, which are like 16 hours of med admin. And then you have to take 8 hours of classes that are like filling out the forms, filling out MUIs, It's all the paperwork and the history behind the developmental disability community in Ohio. So
If you're in Franklin County, are you saying that where would they take these classes? Would it be through the agency or through
so you can
Franklin County
take them right at Johnstown, at the Johnstown location for DODD, for FCBDD. Now, you can take them right there. You can take your CPR and first aid through anywhere. You can take it through the Red Cross. If your child has a waiver, my suggestion is to call Maggie Hart at Franklin County, because then they will pay for it. So instead of having to pay for it out of pocket, you can bill it to your child's waiver and have it paid for, as long as you talk to Maggie first. It takes, if you were really serious about wanting to get this done, you could probably get it done in about a 2-week time. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah, when I say serious about getting it done, I mean, you're going to be taking classes, you know, 2 or 3 nights a week for the 2 weeks. And then you do have to have fingerprinting done. Even if you're the child's parent, you still have to be fingerprinted. So anyway, any questions there? I don't see anything. All right, so next slide. All right, so use it or lose it. I cannot stress this enough. If you get a waiver, please use it. Find something to use it on. The state is removing waivers with everything that's gone with COVID and then cutting the school budgets by 20%. They are looking to cut however they can. If they see somebody that hasn't touched a waiver in 6 to 9 months, they're not even going to give you a warning. They're going to yank it. So use those waivers, please. Family members make great providers. If you have a sibling in the house that's over 18, it used to be the rule was that they had to have graduated from high school. They've relaxed that rule now because of COVID. So even if you have a sibling that's still in high school but is 18, they can be a provider. For us, it was a really easy decision. My girls always babysat my son. If we needed help, they would be there to babysit. So as soon as they were 18 and graduated from high school, their butts were in those classes so that I could pay them for what they were already doing. If you have an aunt, an uncle, whatever, get them trained. Find other parents. So this is just kind of a tip. If you have a child and you're having problems finding, if you have a child who's a minor and you have a friend who has a child who's a minor, both of you get trained. You can watch their kid, they can watch your kid. You just can't watch your own. Once they become adults, you can then watch your own. But it's a really good way to give your friend a break, for you guys to make a little extra money, and for you guys to be trained and ready by the time they hit 18. It's just it's a way that my friends and I, there are a number of us that all got trained, and we all just kind of, if somebody had an emergency and they had to, a parent that was in the hospital in, Pennsylvania, I could go stay with their kid for the weekend in their home and get paid for it. And my friend could rest easy that somebody trained was watching their kid. So if you've got that network and you've got friends, both of you get trained and help each other out. Look for potential aids everywhere. I know Terry's on here. She and I have had a lot of conversations about where to find them. Everywhere. I have a couple teachers that are currently my aides. I've gone to colleges. I've looked in my own church. Anywhere you find somebody who takes a liking to your kid, ask them if they would be interested in, even if it's just once a month, if they'd be interested in getting trained and watching your kid. You just kind of always have to have the feel out. If you all aren't on any of the boards locally, the like Columbus Autism Parents, or I'm sure that Down syndrome there are quite frequently posts of people saying, my aide wants more hours. Does anybody need somebody? So that's another good place to find aides. Just a side note, when you get a good aide, treat them like family. And I can't stress that enough, because a good aide, we've had ours going on 7 and 8 years, and they are like our family. I treat them very well. I give them money for gas. You know, if they're taking my son somewhere, they're just like gold to us. So if you get a good one, do what you need to do to keep them. Okay, bonus funding for health check. So health check is one of those little spider webs that kind of goes off. So if you have a child that is under 22 or under, you can get health check hours. Health check hours, if you have not ever used them, it can be between 14 and up to 56 hours a week of agency providers. Now, again, it's coming from a parent. Usually the agency providers, like from a healthcare agency, kind of suck. They kind of suck. They usually aren't the best people. The rules are they can only work for 4 hours at a time. They then need 2 hours off, and then they can work another 4 hours. You have to be in the house. You don't have to be in the same room with them, but you're supposed to be in the house. And they're supposed to be working healthcare. So they're supposed to be helping with bathing, helping with feeding. They're not supposed to leave the house with your child. So they're not supposed to wear an aide through the county can leave and take your child away for the night if you so want it. Health check aides must stay in the house. You must be there with them. They can only work 4 hours at a clip. The other thing is the health check, they're only getting paid about 9 to 10. I've just never had a whole lot of success with them, but they are available. If you are going to try to use that, or if you have maybe a family member that's willing to do that for you, willing to get certified and be a health check provider, always have your doctor write the script for wording up to 56. That way you have the option of going anywhere from 14 up to 56. The 14 hours on the low end is not a hard, fast rule, but agencies won't take you on because it's not worth their while. So the 14 to 56, just have them write the script for Johnny needs health check providers for up to 56 hours per week. You can use less, you can't use any more. So questions about that?
I just have had some issues with the agency itself, billing, just really a lot of different issues. So I'm just looking for a new agency and trying to figure out if it's worth it or if I should push for one of the other waivers since our daughter's 18 now.
Are you, so you're using health check, are you using A1?
No.
Okay, A1 is kind of the biggest health check agency in Franklin County. The owner's name is Sanjay Patel. He's a good guy and his mother works with him. They're good people. It's just the nature of the business. They just get people that cycle in and out very quickly. And again, my personal experience, I just never got anybody quality through my health check.
We're using family for that, but it's just the agency has been our problem.
I would go and talk to Sanjay about maybe transferring over to A1. They are the biggest agency. They will offer benefits.
Okay.
If you've got somebody, back it up. Benefits are also offered for Franklin County. So if you have somebody who is maybe a family member and wants to help you with your child, they can get benefits through Franklin County. They're not cheap, but they can get benefits. So yeah, but the health check, it is available, but to me, it wasn't, usually for me, I needed my son to go away and for somebody to take him out of the house so that I could get stuff done in the house. And that health check didn't afford that to me. So I just never found it very useful, but it's available if you need it.
I have a question. While people are waiting to get a waiver, can they use health check until then?
No, not really. You're not supposed to be able to. If you have Medicaid, if for some reason you have Medicaid outside of the waiver population, you will be able to get it. But if you don't have that Medicaid piece, you're not going to be, because it's Medicaid that pays for it.
Yeah.
So
I think eventually we'll have to push for another waiver because she'll be, and she'll be 21 in a couple years. Then those health check hours will go away, won't they?
yes, yes. At the point their 22nd birthday, those health check hours do go away. So I would start, is she graduating from high school? Is she soon?
Yeah, she is. We're getting her to, because of COVID, I don't want to send her back. So we opted to do her last 2 classes this summer. And she's graduating early, a year ahead.
Okay, so talk to your service coordinator. I will tell you, if you haven't had a psych eval done, you're going to need a current psych eval. That's kind of the biggie.
We did have one done for the guardianship.
Okay, then you're good.
So yeah,
you're good. So yeah, go ahead and you're going to need to get that together. But talk to your service coordinator and start pushing them now. Just say, look, it's not, what we've got is not going to work, and we need to start working on getting it bumped up.
Hope, can you explain why it's important to get a psych eval?
Okay, so the psych eval, especially as they become adults, you're going to need it if you do file for guardianship or power of attorney or any of that. We didn't go for guardianship for my son. We decided to go for power of attorney. It's the way it was explained to us is it's easier to ramp up from power of attorney to guardianship than it is to back off of guardianship. So we have power of attorney over everything. But you would need the psych eval for guardianship. You just need the psych eval for everything. They're going to want to see that, and they're going to want to see one done as a late adolescent. But the waiver, when you go to submit, if you've got a level 1 and you're going to submit for an IO or a self waiver for a larger waiver, you got to prove to them why they're going to need it. And back to my first tip, use it. Use it, use it, use it, because if you have a level 1 and you're only using $3,000 a year, and you go and you ask them for a self waiver, they're going to come back and say, we gave you that waiver, but you didn't even use all of it. Why do you think you need more? So make sure find a way to use it. Find a way. If you have to have an aide come and sit in your house to get it billed all the way through, get that billed. Would a neuropsychologist evaluation, I'm going to say yes. As far as I know, if the neuropsych eval has got the IQ testing and the ADOS testing in it, I'm going to say, yeah, it should work. The psych eval for a nonverbal patient, they do it. They do it. It's, they can ask the child, and if they get nothing, they're going to ask them to stack blocks. If they don't get them to stack blocks, it's going to go on the psych eval. So they do get them to do it. Now that he's 16 and he's aggressive, 5'9", I know, Terry, it's hard to find somebody to help. It's very hard to find somebody to help, especially when you get aggression, and the bigger they get, definitely it's hard to find somebody. I wish I had a great answer for once they get aggressive, but I would just say maybe call step by step, see if, especially right now, this is actually, a lot of teachers are right now out of work. I know Reach, Hogland, and Learning Spectrum all have teachers that are laid off right now. So it may be easier to find somebody right now as an aide. So just know that there are some out there. We were able to find a director of a day hab who was laid off, and she's been with us for most of the summer. All right, I'm gonna give you guys I'm gonna give you guys my telephone number. I know this is shocking, and know that I am in the process of moving. So if I don't get back to you right away, just bear with me, but you guys can text me. I'm better at texting back. So my number is 614-386-8255. 364-0103. And I am anytime willing to, help you guys with whatever I can. But get a tough spine. Don't let them tell you no. I know they're just really good at not wanting to give out money. So just get a tough spine and go fight for it, because we got to fight this while we're walking this earth, because we don't want whoever's going to be taking care of them later to have to deal with this.
I have a question. If there's a family on this meeting who has a waiver, what brought you to this meeting?
Well, ours is just starting July the 1st, and I'm just want to know what's available, just make sure that we use all the resources that are available.
Mm-hmm.
That's what brought me to.
Janet, do you have AIDS?
We do not. I mean, we had nothing. We had just started him in a day program. That's all that we've had. And he's been out of school since spring break, in March or whenever that was. He has not been in. We've had Zoom, which, it's been at home. So, no, we have no age. We have nothing. But so any pointers, anybody can put me in any directions. What we desperately need is respite. Just if there's a organization that you can recommend, a facility would be good. We would like to maybe at some point have someone in our home, but right now we need a little break.
Have you used Recreation Unlimited? Have you ever looked into
I'm sorry?
Have you ever looked into Recreations Unlimited? To the
yeah, I called them, and I can't remember. One, Dungarvan, one of them I sent an email, the other sent I left a message, and I haven't heard back from either one.
Okay.
So I need to follow up with I don't know if anybody is.
The camps or the weekends that they have up in Ashley at the camp, you can use your waiver for, and they're really good.
Okay.
Most people absolutely have a phenomenal experience. They're well trained, and so I would recommend taking a look, especially if you need like a weekend off or something. It's a great place. He'll have a great time.
Okay.
And your waiver will cover it.
Okay, great. I'll definitely follow up with them. Yeah, he would enjoy that. And like I said, I've left messages and sent emails, but haven't got a response. But I'll follow up on that. So
okay, cool. All right. What else? Anybody else?
I feel like I'm almost going to have my son beat on me to get a waiver from our county.
Okay, so true story. This is really how we got one, and Deb knows this story. So my son was now I tell her about the Mountain Dew and chocolate, but my son was denied twice, and he finally had an episode on the bus, on the school bus. He was being picked on. We knew he was being picked on, but he had he found his opportunity where he wasn't harnessed in, and he went after every kid on that bus and scratched their face. Yeah. And one of the parents filed a police report, which he was only maybe 5th grade. I didn't even know that the police report was filed. The school did me a favor and said, you might want to know about this. We're going to have to put him in a private TriStar car. And I'm like, yes, my opportunity. I go to the police department. I ask for the police report. Sure enough, my son's there. I would have never known that this police report existed. And it was the police report that finally did it. Police report finally, and some video of him beating on one of his sisters. But
that's what I feel like it's going to take. Like, my son doesn't have like bad behaviors like that. He's actually very good. And at the time I called for it, he has really bad OCD. And at the time it was over, it took us 2 years to work through this fire drill OCD thing. Yep. And when I called, he was literally in my face 100 times a day going, no fire drill, no fire drill, no fire drill, no fire drill. I mean, it was making me just a mental case.
Yes.
And my husband works 12 to 14 hours a day. And, you know, when they were here, he was fine,
Yes.
you know, but,
Yep.
and they don't see it. And now we're like through that episode because we put him through exposure therapy. I worked with a therapist for 2 years. It's fine. But now, well, do I put back in for one? I mean, I've had therapists, doctors, they're like, you should be on a waiver. What's going on?
Yes. And just
I'm like,
get a video of it, get it, whatever he's
but
doing.
he doesn't do that anymore. Now he's got epilepsy that's gotten worse. And it's hard because usually I'm the one at home and he's seizing. Try and video when he's seizuring. I got to take care of him.
Yeah, it is. It's hard. Do you
it's
have
like they need proof that he's seizuring or documentation how many times he seizures on top of his autism in order to get, you know what I mean? I honestly, I can't put his safety at risk to say, oh, I got a video your seizure.
No, I know. I can tell you, we at one point had bought one of these little like cameras that would video 8 hours. It cost maybe.
Well, I have a time camera. He doesn't seizure at night, but there's no warning for his seizures. He could seizure on a toilet. He could seizure in the family room. There's no aura. There's nothing. He just seizes.
Mhm.
And that makes it hard because it could happen anywhere at any time. And the one we have, it's in his bedroom because the nocturnal seizures are the ones that, you know, if you're in your room, you're not going to see. So, I mean, unless I load, with our luck, we'll have a camera in a room and he'll seize and he won't be in that particular corner of the camera. You know, because that's how it works for autistic parents.
Yeah, no, I know. I would say just, you've got all the doctor's notes, right?
Yeah, and I keep a seizure log, and I have every documented seizure because I have to call because every time he gets his med adjustments, and he's at Mott Children's Hospital in Michigan now in a surgery consult for a workup to get procedures done. I go, well, maybe that's the next time I call is when he's up on the panel and needs a procedure done, and if he has to have some kind of brain surgery, are they finally going to put a waiver in, you know?
Keep pushing and ask for a supervisor.
And he's 16 now, you know, but my gosh, he's a sweet boy who's got issues, but they're like, oh, family resource funding should be just fine. Like, really?
The other thing you have to remember when you're talking to the county is it's not about us. So I'm very guilty about it. I'm like, well, we don't need the waiver. My son needs the waiver. And we're a family unit and we're all impacted by it, but ultimately it's his health, not mine. It's not mine. We clearly need breaks. I mean, but it's ultimately what his needs are, and his needs can't be met by you being on him 24 hours a day. It can't. You have to sleep. So
right, but I don't trust leaving him with anybody right now unless they're trained with CPR, seizure precautions. Good luck trying to find somebody who does seizure precautions. That's like a whole nother. There's CPR, but somebody who does seizures is a whole nother ball game.
That the med-admin would take care of that. The med-admin class would take care of that, and it is an intense class, but you know, as long as if you can find somebody. Do you have family members that are currently helping at all?
No. No, I've got like elderly, my husband's got elderly parents and they saw what happened once. No way. I mean, it's just too much. They're 80. It's way, way too much, I think, for them to handle. It's too emotional for them to watch their grandson seizure.
Yeah.
It's just me and my husband. I mean, I have a cousin. I think she could do it, but I think it would be hard. You know, I'd like to train. Most of our family's out of town.
Okay.
So it pretty much is us.
Well, I would say I would take a look at Ohio State and
we're in county. I'm not even close to Ohio State.
Okay, what's the nearest college to you?
Bowling Green and University of Toledo.
How far are they?
20 minutes either way.
Okay. I
have a suggestion too.
Yeah.
First of all, there's an independent living center that's amazing called the Ability Center in Toledo. And they might be a resource for some ideas in the area of what you're looking for. And they're local. So that might be an option. But go ahead and help with what you were going to say.
No, I was just going to say I would take a look, and you want to specifically ask for like the any of the pre-med, any of the psychology, any of the education majors. Ask for the secretary to that like the dean of that school, and that secretary, what I have found, can post jobs to some of their grad students, and I have found aides that way through Otterbein. I've talked to the woman who's the secretary at for the psychology department, and I've been able to find students. They need
That is
hours.
with the COVID thing right now. It's
Right,
like
right.
one
We're
person, but she's like, we've actually found her on care.com, but she's also works full time in a daycare. And so we get her occasionally on a weekend,
Yeah.
but we haven't since his seizures increased and then COVID happened. So I wasn't sure whether to bring her in because she also had exposure to other kids.
Yeah,
So
no.
you got that whole.
Yeah. And, we're looking 6 months out. So
Right.
if you can, try to find somebody who's willing to do it, but you look to colleges, because I've had such success looking at, through colleges. But yeah, they're going to have to be med admin trained, and that's a 16-hour, pretty intense class. So
Well, I remember being in nursing school, and there was always ads up for
yes.
when I was back in nursing school about, who can take care of.
Yeah. Okay, and Sandra, anybody aware of community-based center? I don't know the name of it. I have not dealt. I know that there's a new one in Westerville that's behind where the autism center is. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. They are only taking, because of COVID, they're starting to ease people back in, and my understanding is a lot of the day hubs are picking and choosing which kids they bring back. And they're bringing back the kids that can wear masks. So if you want, you can call that autism center affiliated with Nationwide Children's, and it's behind there. It's in the building that's behind there. It's a brand new day hub.
I think it's ViaQuest. I think that's the name of it.
For your day hub?
That's the one that's behind the.
Oh, okay. Okay.
ViaQuest.
Okay. Yeah, I know somebody who just started their son there, and they're pretty happy with it. So.
My son just started a new day program also, and there's only like 3 kids right there now. It's actually in a church, and it's on the south side, off of Gender Road near not Grove City, near Canal Winchester. I can give you that information if anybody's interested.
Yeah, that'd be great. Everybody, it's always good to share.
Okay, the organization is Tender Home Care Providers. Is anybody familiar with that organization? I've been working with Crystal, who is she's the CEO of the organization, but contact her. And I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of this. I just know that he loves to go. He's disappointed when it's Saturday and Sunday and he can't go. So that means a lot to us. So yeah, and that, like I said, I don't know a lot about what the day programs do, but they are taking him out into the community and these just happen to be, they are older. They're not children, but they're not older. They're like, he's 20 and I think they're all like in their 20s. All 3 of them are like in their 20s, but if you're looking for something I have had a great experience so far, and I really, Crystal is a wonderful wealth of information. She's been very, very good source of information for me. So if nothing else for that reason, I would contact her.
Okay. Sandra, I don't know. That sounds like Shangri-La to have an after-school option that would be community-based. I don't know of any. I wish I did. It sounds like a great idea. But yeah, I mean, I just know most of my experience with my son younger, the only after school options were right at the school, and they were really crappy options. Yeah, I mean, we did some after school programs through Hogland and through Oakstone, and they just sucked. Excuse my French. So,
Hope, we have a question. A person missed the part where to go to get information on the training to be a provider.
okay, so if you're in Franklin County, you can go to Maggie Hart. You call Maggie Hart. So if you've got a waiver, and you're going through Boundless or you're going through Franklin County, or if you are even in a different county and you want to go through Boundless. So Boundless used to be Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities. They've kind of spun off and created their own agency. So if you want to go, contact Boundless and let them know you want to become a provider and you want the training. And then Maggie Hart is who sets up the training. That's her, M-A-G-G-I-E, Hart, H-A-R-T. Maggie still works for Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and she handles the training part of it. But the actual like paperwork and fingerprinting is handled through Boundless. Now, if you want to go through another agency like ARC, call ARC and they'll do the training. If you want to go through the state, directly to the state, you would talk to the state and they may refer you to Franklin County because they seem to have the biggest training. If you want to do this, I'm just giving you a little kind of in. Right now, a lot of the training is online because of COVID. You can take your CPR online and then you have to go physically to a location and just take a 10-minute test by like one-on-one. That's never happened before. It's just because of COVID. But a lot of the stuff is currently online because of COVID. So it's a good time if you want to become a provider because you can do it all from home. Does Boundless work with Morningstar? Does anyone work with Morningstar is kind of more the question. Boundless, if you have a self-waiver and you want to get equipment, Boundless will work with Morningstar. I have not had to because we're not using our waiver for any equipment. My son doesn't have the physical needs like ramps or any of that stuff. So I haven't had the experience. I do know that they will push you. Boundless will say, if you need physical equipment, you got to go get it approved through Morningstar. So I hope that answers your question, but I haven't had the personal experience with it. Yeah. Yeah. The income level for Medicaid, the question is, my daughter's 11, I have too much income for Medicaid, how do I get a waiver? So yeah, if you've got the income standards are pretty low to get Medicaid. How do you get the waiver? You just get it documented, get everything, what your need is. If it's a physical need, if they have elopement issues, if they have no communication, if they're not potty trained. I mean, you document everything, whatever sleep issues. My son was 7, not potty trained. He would literally cut our screens and get out of the house. He wouldn't go anywhere. He'd just sit on our front porch, but he'd cut the screens. I don't know. You can't figure it out. But anyway, he would just go sit. We'd all of a sudden see him sitting on our front porch with the dog because the dog would follow him out the screens. So we just started, documenting it. We had the psychological evaluation when he was 7 and nonverbal, so it can be done. And then again, we finally got the police report once he hit like 5th grade. So he was 10, maybe about 10 by the time he got the waiver. But you just have to keep fighting. Don't give up. It sucks. The process just sucks, quite frankly. But don't give up because we're not fighting. We're fighting for the next generation that's going to have to care for our kids. And I can't stress it enough. This is not something I'd ever want to turn over to my girls to have to do for him. So just keep fighting, keep taking video, keep documenting. When you hand them that packet that says he needs a waiver, it should be 3 inches thick and they can't argue with it.
So it's 10:03. I know people are leaving. Oh, there was one more question. Is the waiver based on income?
No.
Okay.
No. And if they try to ask you what your income is, do not answer it. They will, they may ask, but it is not. It's based on need. It is not based on income.
That's really important to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, while we have folks on here, is there a topic that you would like to talk about further related to this, or anything that you think would be a good topic to talk about? Please feel free to email me, and I'll ask Jamie to get my email on the chat. We're always looking for some good ideas. I'm actually in the process of talking with Benton County Board DD to talk about how early should a family be talking about adult services. How old should their child be when they're ready to talk about that? Because what happens at the Center for Disability Empowerment, we have people that have graduated from school and do not receive adult services because they were considered too high functioning. So we're trying to find out, is it the age 13 or age 14 when we start needing to have our kiddos tested so they'll be ready once they graduate for adult services, because there seems to be a big hiccup from graduation and then nothing. So we're working on that. I'm also working on a possible SIP panel. We'll have with teens, typical teens and their sibling. I'm a sibling myself, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. I may even add my old sister on there, how things are different from the old days to now. But that's something, might be a topic to talk about. It's kind of related to this whole waiver thing, because when we were young, the waivers weren't even an option. So my sister and I had to figure out what is our part in the care of my brother should my parents pass away. So it's really important as parents that we talk about this and prepare the way, because we could not be here tomorrow. So I encourage all of you to keep pressing forward. I'm so thankful there are resources like this available to you. Gosh, I can't imagine what my family would have been like. Maybe I wouldn't be so kooky nutty, but that qualifies me for the job, I guess. But and Jamie says yes, okay. So anyway, I would like to tell you that you can hear about future Zoom meetings on the Facebook page called Central Ohio Family Network. I do put it on there. We also have a Facebook page for the Center for Disability Empowerment, which will list that information as well. We hope to have this recorded and edited in time so that you can go back, and we can send you, if it's okay with you, Hope, a copy of your PowerPoint to these folks. Okay. That way, we were having issues with a little black box, and I think Jamie and I figured out now what that is. And this Zoom world is very new to us, and we're getting better with each meeting. But thank you all so much for your time. If you have any questions, like tomorrow, or you wake up tonight and go, why didn't I ask this? Feel free to email me, and I'll get it to Hope, or you have Hope's phone number. She's a great resource, and she doesn't put up with stuff, and that's what I like it.
Yeah.
Parenting is already hard, and when you have to fight for your kid, sometimes you just feel very tired. But I want to encourage you that you are doing the best you can. These are hard times, on top of behaviors and COVID and everything else. So hang in there. We want to support you in any way that we can. All right. So have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. All right. Take care. God bless you guys. Bye.